We'll see if this camera keeps working. I don't know. Hello, YouTube. If it seems like it's been a while since I've flown, it's because it's been a while since I've flown. It's Ohio, and I gotta say the weather's just awful this winter. Sometimes we have easy winters, sometimes we have moderate winters. This year we're having a hard winter. Ignore the evidence your eyes are showing you. 2 days ago it was minus 6 degrees Fahrenheit. Today it's, what does it say, 51, 52 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's the difference in Ohio. It's, anyway, also been gone for quite a while. We were down in Florida with the camper, enjoying moderately better weather. We were in the Panhandle, which is not where people snowbird. I think there are people that live in the Panhandle of Florida that snowbird to further south in Florida. But it was in 40, 50s degrees, almost 60 degrees a couple days, so it was nice. We came back way too soon. Obviously, we had we delayed our return a couple days because we had a horrible forecast, 11 inches of snow, which turned out to be about 4 inches of snow, but which was still enough that couldn't get the camper up the driveway. I have flown. I flew once after the annual, if you remember that far back. I didn't have the camera with me. And about a month ago, I had a day not quite as nice as this, but good enough, when I went out and did some touch and goes and just got some practice. When the camera wasn't working, it shut itself, just kept shutting itself down every 10 or 15 seconds, so it was useless. Seems to be working now. I put a new memory card in it. I think the memory card was failing, so now I have video. Oh, I know those guys. I just had lunch with them. One of them's an RV-12. In any event, we're going to fly around today. We're not going to do anything particularly special. I just need to exercise the engine. It was hard to get started. It sat for a month. It sat in the bitter cold for a month, and it was actually took quite a while to get it started, and ran a little rough thereafter. It's nice and smooth now, so it just needed to be run. But running it idle doesn't do what needs to be done. I got to go out and run it up to full temperature for about a half hour and burn all the fluid, all the water and condensation and such forth that has gotten into the oil and things like that. So, plus I want to fly. I'm just desperate to fly. So that's what we're doing. I had it on the preheater up to 100 degrees already, so this is going to take overly long. The Skyview has locked up on me a couple times now. It also doesn't appear to like the cold very much. It seems to be working now. Don't know what to do about that, if anything. Let's see what I want to info. Let's see if we got any weather information yet. No, not yet. But it's we're gonna be landing and taking off on runway 22. It's about 6 knots winds, and it's just about right down the runway. So winds shouldn't be much of a factor. Like I say, it's 53 degrees, so not exactly hot, not exactly cold. We're just gonna tool around a little bit, maybe do a few landings, and make sure everything is working on the airplane still. It's when it sits, I don't know. Things can happen to it or not. I guess we'll test the heat today. We're probably going to want a little bit of cabin heat today. So this is going to warm up. I've got another 17 degrees to go. I could probably already be taxiing. I'll give those guys a holler in a few minutes. I'm just kind of sitting here, kind of getting the feel for it again. I just have not flown much at all this winter, probably a total of an hour or two. That's been pretty dismal, and we're not even out of February yet. We just started February. As a matter of fact, today I think is Stupid Bull Sunday. So what do we got? We got to get our transponder setting. That's going to be, oops, that's the wrong knob, see? That's up here somewhere. I want that up right about there. And we may have weather by now. Let's take a look. Info. Nope, no weather. So we got ADS-B. We do have ADS-B. I've got radar. I've got everything but the weather report. That's interesting. But there's no hurry on that because the ground control is going to tell me that anyway. If I can remember how to actually ask for clearance. It's been so long. I do remember the last time I flew, I ended up in a race back to the airport with a Cessna, which I beat by a hair. And landed short, got off the runway, and he ended up flying a 747 style pattern anyway, so I'm glad I didn't get behind him, which was the point of the race back to the airport in the first place. So we're pretty caught up. I'm at 115 on the oil. That's going to pop over 120 any minute now. I'm going to give these guys a holler and head on down to the runway. I'm pretty sure we're leaving off a 2-2, so it's a short taxi. We'll see what happens with that. I came out here yesterday and again this morning to see what the snow conditions were like, and we have a new FBO here, and I think for some reason they have gotten the snow removal contract, and apparently they've never done it before. Typically what will happen is down these aisles here, between the hangars, they'll pile up all the snow down there at the end. What they did this time is they piled it up here at the driveway, at the entrance to these things, which is narrow, so you could get a car through there, but you couldn't get wings through there. They're going to have to rethink what they're doing, because that made no sense at all. Spent all that time and money plowing the thing, and nobody could get their airplanes out because they piled the snow up right where you need to go. And you can see one right here. That's much smaller than it was because this has been melting all day. I would not have been able to get through here earlier today, nor would I have tried it because the taxiway was still icy. But either way, they really did get a clue. It was kind of a and actually we had a snowstorm, I don't know, a week or two ago. Not a storm, enough snow that it had to be removed, and I don't think it got done at all. I was talking to a guy that was just very disappointed because he was buying an RV. He bought an RV6 and he was trying to fly it back from Arizona, and airport was closed. He had to park over at Rickenbacker, the Air Force Base, because they don't know how to clear the snow here. Which, you know, okay, whatever, right? All right, rant over. I'm going to taxi on down here, do a big long run up, and then we'll be in the air. I'm using my checklist again. Again, I use this a lot if I haven't flown recently. It's a very simple airplane, but there are things that can be forgotten, like the canopy release, which was one you all know I'm very paranoid about. My fuel pump fuse, if I've had it out, I got to make sure it's over here. These are things I'll forget. I did get a question in the comments about what I intend to do with this checklist file, whether I would be able to share that or willing to share that. I have no problem at all with sharing it. I don't really know where to share it to or how people would find it. And a follow-up question, obvious follow-up question, is the tool that I built this on. I developed a checklist maker tool that makes this very, very easy to do. I don't have any idea what to do with that either. It works fine on my computer. I don't know how to package it into a redistributable so it can be given to other people, and I don't want to be put in a position of maintaining it. If there's something you don't like about it or something wrong with it, I just don't want to mess with it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's kind of handy. I think people get a lot of use out of it, but I got to find some way that doesn't impact me personally, like having to get back into professional IT or any of that kind of crap. You know, if you want it as is, I can probably find a way to do it, but I don't know. It's something I'm thinking about. I really have no problem with sharing it. I don't intend to try to make any money off of it. I did get a call from Dynan at one point. I thought, oh, they heard about that and they want to talk about using it, and that's not exactly what happened at all. They were calling to tell me that after a year after ordering it, they had the dual band ADS-B receivers if I still wanted one, and I did not. So anyway, actually, I got a communication from Van's Aircraft. I don't know.
It has the Scarlet traffic in sight.
I don't know if how many of you seen my half-hour.
Romeo Juliet, Roger. Verify type landing.
It's going to be helicopter goes then off north.
From Romeo Juliet, runway 22, cleared touch and go on departure, make left close traffic, report midfield.
Yeah, we'll get out behind this helicopter.
Clear touch and go, runway 22, on the go, left closed, 58 Romeo Juliet, number 2.
All right, totally nice truck I was talking about. That happens to me a lot.
Scarlet 14 pass numbers.
Scarlet 14, runway 22, cleared for the option.
I can be over all day.
Clear for 0, I'll wait before or after that traffic.
Scarlet 14, you have one helicopter in front of you, and he's over the numbers, and the second aircraft is behind you.
And there's one wanting to take off.
14.
From Romeo Juliet, in sight, runway 22, cleared for the option.
Clear the option, runway 22, 58 Romeo Juliet.
Okay. Anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and run up.
Hold power, lights port 9961.
I give up on this.
West of our landing.
Let's get rid of the checklist. I don't need it. There we go. All right.
Port 90961 Bolton Tower, Roger. Enter report midfield, right downwind runway 22, wind 2007.
Run up's important after the plane sat this long. It feels very smooth.
Midfield, right downwind 22. Lights port 9961.
Helicopter.
Oh, I was saying that half-hour video did what it's like to build an RV-12. Vans has recently revamped their website, and they reached out to me to ask if I would allow them, and of course it's on YouTube, they could do it without even asking. They want to host that or link to that YouTube on their website, which I was very honored. I said, absolutely. If you know, it's got something like 58,000 people have watched it. I've got about 100 comments that are just very, very complimentary, and you know, the more people that see that, the better. I don't have any proprietary interest in that either, so I told them, yeah, go ahead. Don't know if they've done it yet. Don't really pay that much attention. Well, we're waiting on a Cessna, coming way, way down a long final. There's another one right behind, but I am going to go ahead and get my foot in the door and tell them that I'm ready for takeoff in just a second here.
And Bolton Tower 284 Delta Golf is ready for takeoff, runway 22, departing VFR westbound.
November 284 Delta Golf, Bolton Tower, Roger. Hold short of runway 22.
Hold short 22 for Delta Golf.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I just wanted to get my foot in the door.
Helicopter 1 Charlie Bravo, do you have the traffic you're following is ahead of you and slightly to your right?
That other guy, he's way the hell out there.
We got the traffic in sight, thank you.
That's the biggest pattern I've ever seen.
Helicopter 1 Charlie Bravo, Roger. Turn base to follow that traffic. Number 3, runway 22, cleared for the option.
He's going to be a while.
Turn base to follow that traffic, and we're number 3, 1 Charlie Bravo, thanks.
Why is OSU down here? They got their own runway. Or maybe they don't. Maybe it's closed. I don't know. Oh well, hopefully we get to go here. I can't even see the guy that's on final. He's so far out there.
Number 284 Delta Golf Bolton Tower, runway 22, cleared for takeoff, proceed on course, traffic left base, runway 22.
Clear takeoff 22, on course, 4 Delta Golf.
Number 8 Romeo Juliet, traffic departing runway 22.
We got
58 Romeo Juliet.
All right, I see the 172. The helicopter is already gone, and the other guy's miles behind us, so here we go.
Bolton Tower, Scarlet 14's upwind 22, requesting a 360 departure.
Scarlet 14, a right turnout approved. Be on the lookout for traffic inbound from the west for the midfield right downwind runway 22.
Oh, we got traffic out the west. Okay, I'm definitely going to want to know about that.
Number 99961, traffic departure into Cessna, making a right turnout northbound.
9961, look for the traffic, and we're midfield right
And we're going to extend beyond that turn. We're just going to keep going until they make that turn.
99961, Roger. Report base. Traffic, you are following the helicopter.
Wow, does this plane want to fly today?
Yeah, about a mile and a half.
85 knots, 1,300 foot per minute, and climbing.
Put the helicopter in.
Okay, I can follow the Cessna because they're going to be breaking away. Let's get out of the way. Still have them in sight. They should be turning north. There they go. They're turning north.
Did I give you your landing clearance?
Not yet. You said the report right base.
Number 99961, runway 22, clear to land the traffic helicopter, about half mile final.
Clear to land 22, still looking for the traffic, 9961.
So there's no real goal for today other than exercise the airplane. Just going to fly around a little bit. Last time I was up, which again was a month or so ago, I did some touch and goes out of Madison County. They were terrible. Did end with a pretty good landing back at Bolton, so got those 3 ugly ones out of the way to get a good one back home. Today it's glass smooth. I can see for miles. I don't even have the heat on. It's 54 degrees out right now, so I might get a little chilly. I may kick on the heat a little bit if I get any chillier than this. But it's a nice day to fly. We just don't get many of these. Any December, January, February.
Juliet is left down on runway 22 for the option.
March can be pretty awful as well. So it's you get a day like this, you really want to use it.
Runway 22 cleared for the option. Traffic, you're following half mile final.
So I'm just going to drone out here for about 15 minutes and turn around and drone back.
Number 8 Romeo.
Well, here's something new and different. Oh, there's an airplane right below us. Oh, he is on my traffic. 400 below us. It's a Cirrus. He just popped up out of nowhere. He must have just taken off or something. I would have seen him. There he is.
Number 99961, turn right taxiway Alpha 3, taxi Alpha to Charlie, monitor ground point 8, and
he's maneuvering. He came across like this. Now he's turning, and I don't know if he's going to continue west or come back across in front of me. Oh, what I was getting ready to say is this is the first time they've ever said, I'm just droning along on my way out, and Tower called me and said frequency change approved, which, I didn't ask. I wonder if that's a new thing. I think they get new directives now and then, and they start behaving a little bit differently. That's Cirrus. I've lost sight. Now he's 700 feet below, and he's heading back. So he's turning back to the airport for some reason. Wish I could see him. But anyway, that's something new, and I guess I'll just wait and see if that continues to be a thing, because if they want that, I'm more than happy to call and request it. But they've never cared before, so might be some new rules coming out. I don't know. Anyway, I'm still looking for the Cirrus. He's still 700 below me, but can't see him. I'm going to hunt around him for a while. I'd like to know where he is. But we're just going to head on out here for a bit. Nothing interesting, I hope. It's been such a long time since I talked to you guys, and since I finished the annual, I guess I never told you what happened with that. If you did watch me replacing the propeller hub, you'll remember that I was very careful to measure the pitch of the blades before I took them off, because I wanted to get back to the same type of performance that I had before as far as full throttle. Where does that take me in RPM and cruise and all that? And it got very, very close, actually. Haven't really had any trouble with it at all. The other thing, I think on the very end of the, this is a self-confess, on the very end of the annual, I was talking about going around the airplane very carefully looking for loose screws and things I hadn't done, and actually found, I think, 1 or 2 screws I might have mentioned that I tightened up, and patted myself on the back and decided to go give it a test flight, and started rolling down the runway, pulled the nose up, came off the ground, and so did the oil door. So I had failed to latch the oil door. So I was just taking off. All I did was click the thumb and said, Tower, I'm going to stop, I'm going to come back. Pulled the throttle and just went from climb into flare and just greased it on in and took the next taxiway off and got out close the stupid oil door. That was embarrassing. But it happens. Oh, it's beautiful. It's smooth, smooth, smooth out here. At altitude, it's 52 degrees at 3,500 feet. So very definitely not February weather. February is typically the worst month of my life. Unless I get, well, even in Korea and Germany, it was pretty damn cold there too. I've never been able to get away from a cold February. My intent was to live in Florida for the winter. Snowbird, I don't get a vote. Well, I don't get a unilateral vote anyway. So we used the camper. I towed the camper 800 miles down to the Panhandle, which is kind of a long drive when you're pulling 3.5 tons behind you. Well, it's 3.25 tons. Still, it's heavy. And that is a up and down drive, up and down drive. Had my fuel plan all laid out because when you're towing 30 feet, you got to be careful what you tow it into. And I don't want to get stuck in a gas station again. That happened once before with my small camper. So I lay out, you know, every 180 miles. Every 180 miles, I had a gas station pick that I had looked at on Google Earth and Street View.
22 cleared for the option.
And I based that on 8 miles per gallon, which is what we had gotten every time I towed that camper before, which was twice, and only once on the highway. We no sooner I got on the highway, I was getting 6.5, 7, which just blew out my fuel plan entirely. So we had to kind of wing it. What I ended up doing eventually is I'd get behind a truck. If you get behind a semi and just stay there, it buffets a little bit. That air coming off the trailer is a little bit just, you know, messed up. But I gained, I mean, not even close on a truck, just behind a semi, I would get another 2 to 2.5 miles per gallon. So my view for about 8 hours the first day was the back of a truck. The second day wasn't so bad because we were off the highway and I don't burn as much gas then anyway. Coming back, I had the fuel plan all laid out using the new mileage figures, assuming I would not be able to follow a truck every way. And I pulled into a big Pilot Flying J just outside of Birmingham, Alabama. And the pumps that you want to use when you have an RV, there's 2 islands. One in the middle, there's a guy in there washing his car with the brush that you use to clean your windshield. And the other one was a truck driver that was sitting there writing out his logbook or doing delivery record or something. And I'm sitting there waiting and waiting. And finally the truck moved out, and I was able to get turned around and get in there, and the pump wouldn't accept my credit card. It had an error code, and it wouldn't take well, probably not taking anybody's. Swung around to the other pump, and same story. So I got myself caught. I got in a position where I had to turn real tight, and I didn't even know you could do this. I mean, I knew intuitively you can back yourself into a jackknife. You know, whoops, too much. You can actually do that going forwards, too. And the next morning, I came out, we were at our overnight stop, and there was a big dent, big crease in the side of my Durango that I had put there with the front edge of that trailer. And that was, there's another self-confess, that was one of the stupidest damn things I've ever done. But in my defense, and it's not much of one, I would not acquit myself over this, but I didn't know that could happen. I've never towed a trailer that big. This is all pretty new to me. So it was an expensive lesson to learn, but it was a lesson learned. So whatever, my bad. But it was a good trip. Was down there working on an RV-12 for a buddy. I had to do the tail service bulletin for him, or help him with it anyway. So we did that. And I think there were some other things I did. I worked on, I put in his 2020 GPS, which was easy enough. So, you know, things like that. Panhandle, like I said, it's not exactly summerish, but I don't really need to be hot. I just need to be not freezing. We stayed in the campground. It belongs to his homeowners association. It's 10 spots, and it's for the homeowners, you know, to have people come down and stay and visit with them, and that's what we were doing. And it was gas, or it was electric and water, but it didn't have the sewer dump. We had to drive it around the other side, which is kind of a pain. I like to have full services, but the nicest thing, we were the only ones there. So it was, we had the campground to ourselves, which was really nice. For would have been 14 days, ended up being 16 days. Well, some of those days are driving. I'm not going to work out the math on that because I don't care. It was a very nice day. Had the dogs with us, so just kind of hung around there. There was a little beach there. There was fishing, although I think it was too cold to fish. I never caught one thing. Managed to not catch a cold, so I'll count that as a win. But it was very nice. So I would definitely consider doing that again. It was very nice to be out of Ohio. Although, like I said, we did deal with some -6-degree weather when we got back, and some ice and things like that. But, you know, if you're missing a little of it, you don't have to miss all of it. Missing a little of it's good enough. And we'll probably head out again in March, maybe down to Atlanta or someplace like that, just to get another dose of warm weather. when the weather here warms up, we won't have to tow nearly as far. We can stay within the state.
Roger, copy. You're outside the airspace.
Yes, sir, to the north.
Okay, helicopter's up to the north.
Roger, frequency change approved.
All right, well, that's it. We're going to head back. I've been at 184 degrees enough to, I think, get the oil out of the, or the water out of the oil. So I'm just going to bring it on back. I'm heading for Lily Chapel. And it's going to be the same going back as coming in, but I'll let you watch the landing, see how bad it's going to be. This is your captain speaking from the flight deck. We've gone ahead and turned on the heat. It was getting kind of chilly up here. That is all. I almost forgot to mention, the camera's actually working again. So the problem was, in fact, a bad memory card, which is a relief because memory cards are about $8, and GoPro cameras are a little more than that. And I probably wouldn't be able to buy another one. I bought this one used. The only way I got this one was it was used, and the guy had a really good price on it. I probably wouldn't be able to buy another one. I'd like to have two. I'd like to have one over here or one over here, just, you know, use them both, but just can't spend that kind of money anymore. Oh, we got this guy coming back. He must just be doing air work. He's out over Massac County. He may just be doing patterns. He's down at 2,000 feet, so he might be doing patterns. Oh, that's a little high. I think they're about 2,200 feet pattern altitude. It makes sense. Anyway, everything is white and kind of lost in the sun here, so I'm kind of looking for Lily Chapel. I see the highway, so I know where I am, but, you know, I'd like to be able to find Lily Chapel. I just thought of another question I got for you guys. I've been kicking around now. I don't know how many of you have seen my blog, the blog that I kept when I was building this airplane, and I kept writing to it when I started flying the airplane, although I stopped doing it in favor of these YouTubes.
Tower 77 Romeo, holding short of 22.
Okay. So the question is, I've been considering making it into a book, the Schmetterling Aviation book. It's like an e-book, sell it on Kindle or whatever for a few bucks. Not sure if there's any interest in that kind of thing or not. If any of you have read the blog and think it would be stupid to convert it into a book, or it would be smart to convert it into a book, or you really don't care one way or the other, let me know in the comments, because I'm curious about that. It's going to be, it's not that the text isn't already written, it's written at times, well, I mean predominantly, very technically. I took part A and part B and attached them with fastener C, which may or may not be interesting. But there's a lot of ancillary stuff around that, the additional stuff around that. Hey, went to Harbor Freight today, had this experience, that experience, which people seem to enjoy. Not really sure, maybe flattering myself. Not sure how I would write it. What I'm thinking is I need to go through the blog because I wasn't particularly careful about typos and things like that. I want to clean that up. And there may be some stuff that's just so nitnoy detail that's not in the least bit interesting. But what I'm thinking of doing is combining, you know, every few pages of I did this on the tail or I did this on the trim tab or whatever, putting in from the future, you know, when I was done, I was flying it, taking a flying story and kind of you know, here's some build, here's a flying story, here's some building, here's a flying story. Because what I was told, boy, there's airplanes everywhere out here. I was told at one point by a guy that was building an RV-12 that he always read the bottom part of my blog, never the top part where I went to Harbor Freight or whatever. But his wife read the top part, but not the bottom part. So I don't want to exclude either audience, but I don't want to put out something that's just boring. So anyway, any thoughts are welcome. Whatever you got, go ahead and say it. I have a thick skin. We'll see. This may end up being another race to the airport. We're going to find out in a minute here whether I'm the first or the second to call over Lily Chapel. There's a guy about 2 miles off my way and 200 feet below, heading the same direction, right at the airport. So it's just going to be a matter of who calls first, which I think is going to be me because I'm going to cheat a little bit.
Bolton Tower, experimental 284 Delta Golf, over Lily Chapel, inbound landing.
Experimental 284 Delta Golf, Bolton Tower, roger, into the right downwind, runway 22, report midfield. Wind is 1706, altimeter 299er.
Into right downwind 22, report midfield 4 Delta Golf.
That was what I expected, so that came out well. This guy's now 300 feet above, but I'm descending a little bit, so maybe I'm the one that's going down. He's still a little ahead of us, so let's speed up a little bit, but he has not called in, so I'm not sure that he may just be out here practicing. He may not be on an approach. Well, let's get in front of him just in case.
November 5877 Romeo, see your position.
We are about 2.5, 3 miles on the straight out departure of 22.
Number 77 Romeo, roger. Be on the lookout for traffic inbound from Little Chapel for the right downwind.
I'll be looking for the traffic, 77 Romeo.
Well, that's him.
Number 284 Delta Golf, traffic approximately 3 miles off runway 22, southwest bound.
And 4 Delta Golf, we're looking.
I think he's too far away. He's 5 miles away. I'm not going to be able to see him. I'm also going to lose some altitude and some airspeed, since it's not a race after all. He's just transitioning, I guess. I mean, through the airspace, not, you know, that other kind that's so much in the news these days. Yep, I don't see him.
Apple Tower, helicopter 71 Charlie Bravo is on Alpha. We'd like to get an air taxi back over to the hangars for parking. If we could.
Oh, good, they're done. The helicopter's done. You won't be hovering over the runway.
Tower, that'd be great.
That's good.
Helicopter 1 Charlie Bravo, roger. Air taxi around the tower to the ramp.
Things are just going my way today.
Tower to the ramp for 1 Charlie Bravo, thanks.
Well, the plane's flying great. So, nice and smooth after the propellers. I mean, I balanced the blades, balanced the carbs, all that stuff you do on the annual. It's running nice and smooth. I'm not sure I would have won that race had it become a race. He's still kind of a little bit out in front of me. Just way over there somewhere, 5 miles out of the way. And 700 feet below me, I'm just not clear what he's doing. Plus that's the helicopter, it's kind of cluttered in here. That might be the helicopter. No, the helicopter was on the ground, he was taxiing. Oh, he's 1,000 above me. Okay, that's what's happening. Gets under all this stuff over here, it gets really hard to see. Okay, here we go. Got 34 knots blowing us to the north here. On the ground, it's not going to be anywhere near that. But I got a 34 knot, almost direct crosswind, which is why we're kind of sliding this way. There's pattern altitude. And almost a flap speed, that's going to work out well. I'm going to apologize in advance for the quality of this landing. Had a friend come up and have lunch in his RV-12, and I watched him land, and I don't think he even flared. It's like, boom. There's some chop. Just out of nowhere, a whole bunch of chop.
And Bolt Tower 4 to the Golf midfield right downwind 22.
November 4 Delta Golf, runway 22, clear to land.
Clear to land runway 22, 4 Delta Golf.
Oh, got radio's coming back to me now, that's good. I'm not speaking gibberish anymore. At least I don't believe I am. Here come the flaps. Boink. Now, my first landing in my entire life in an RV-12 was a greaser, as was my second. And that was from having never flown one in my entire life. Now I haven't flown for a month. And let's see what happens. And wind is still reading 18, so we lost about half of it. We're actually very high on approach here. I was counting on, very good, we're going to get some wind. I was counting on a little bit of wind here. It's So I kept some altitude. Of course, we're going halfway down the runway also, as you may remember. Yeah, we got 18 on the nose. I mean, not 18.0, I just mean 18 on our nose. Gotta be clear. I had been flaring low. I'm going to try flaring high now. Chirp, chirp. Well, smooth, but it was the nose wheel wasn't. Just dropped the nose wheel. It was smooth, I just chirped it a couple times. I'll take it.
November 284 Delta Golf, turn right taxiway Alpha 3, taxi Alpha to Charlie, monitor ground point 8.
Right Alpha 3, Alpha to Charlie, ground point 84 Delta Golf.
And there you go. It still flies, despite my mechanical ministrations. Okay, Alpha to Charlie. I always have to remember Alpha to Charlie versus Alpha to Bravo, which is the way we used to do it. That's another new thing they've done. It makes a lot of sense, because we kept ending up going nose to nose. It just made no sense to have us people coming out, people coming in on the same taxiway. All right, well, that's it for today. I'm rooting for whoever is playing against New England, so send me some hate mail if you happen to live in New England. I don't care. I don't even know who's playing, but whoever's playing against them, that's who I want to win.